Welcome to the NFL Pregame Report.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Shady Sports Network and the Sports Wave Network proudly bring to you your NFL Pregame Report. I would have yelled that in a more obnoxious tone, but the throat's not going to let me do that today. So, it's your boy Cool McCain. I'm joined on the side over here by Mr. TJ, a regular on the show, of course. And below us, the wild guy, the masshole himself. What's going on, guys?
What's up, Cool? Good morning, TJ. Good up. What's up, guys?
What's going on, guys?
So, hey, y'all, a little bit behind today. We're kind of, live shows, coordinating everything. Multiple people. It gets crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
But we're here. And we're here.
Here.
Sports. And that's the important thing. So it's time to get into that. So some things we want to talk about for sure, just based on what's been happening. So let's get into it. Actually, let me get the list up first here because apparently my internet just lost its mind like 2 minutes ago. But I hope it find it real quick. Man, it's crazy. So again, I have everything set up, guys. Everything's cool. Everything's ready to go. Then I flip back over to where the notes are at. And everything's frozen. You gotta love it.
Technology at its finest, right?
Oh yeah, but there's always a way around it. But we'll start. I remember one of the topics. It may not be the first topic, but we'll just say we'll play it by ear.
I got the notes. You want me to pull them up? I can pull them up.
Sure, if you wouldn't mind dropping in a private chat, that would be great. But
Yeah,
in the meantime,
here,
Dennis Allen was unceremoniously removed from his role as head coach of the New Orleans Saints. So he's gone. So I ask you guys thoughts on that. But also, who do you think will be the next coach to get the same treatment? So TJ, we'll start with you, man. Who do you think will be the next guy? Well, any thoughts first on Dennis Allen's firing, and then who do you think will be the next coach to receive the same treatment?
Well, for Dennis Allen, I'm not really all that surprised. Not too many guys can lose 7 games in a row after not having exactly the best season last year either. I think majority of coaches, even with better clout than him in the league as a head coach, would have probably been shown the door. If not right now, definitely at the end of the season. But in terms of the next coach, I think it's a 2-man race, and who knows who's going to get to the finish line first, Antonio Pierce or Doug Peterson. Both are not having great seasons. Both more so Antonio Pierce starting to get a lot of locker room chatter that there's dysfunction going on. Doug Peterson, that situation's a little bit more kept under wraps, I'll say, but still with the season they're having, the owner not known to really give head coaches long-term, time to figure things out. And with the way the season's going, I don't see Doug Peterson lasting either. So I think it's a 2-man race between those guys.
Fair enough. Bobby, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm not surprised at it. At them getting rid of Allen. There was a lot of dysfunction from the start with that. And the hire in the beginning didn't really make sense to me anyways. But who do I think is next? It's if the Eagles beat Dallas today and it's a bad beating, it's got to be McCarthy. It has to be. If they lose 3 of the next 5, because that's 5 weeks puts us right around Christmas? Right around
Roughly.
Christmas.
Yeah,
right?
roughly.
So
Yeah.
if they lose 3 of the next 5, he's cooked. It's got to be. My pick is McCarthy. It's McCarthy or Peterson down in down in Jacksonville. One of those two is going to get clipped.
Definitely. What's up, Key?
What's up, Key?
Key was holding things down last week. She's supporting us in the chat. And we're welcoming Chris on as well. What's going on, Chris?
What's going on, guys?
What's up,
Long
Chris?
time no talk.
Yes, sir.
Getting over the plague for a couple weeks, so I've been a little bit absent, but I'm here and I've been paying attention, and things are on the up and up. So
good. All right, Chris. So we were just talking about what head coach do. So we're talking about the fact that Dennis Allen got fired. Any thoughts on that?
Mhm.
And what head coach do you think could and should be next to get the boot? TJ thinks it should be Doug Peterson or Antonio Pierce. Bobby went with the easy choice, Mike McCarthy.
It's got to be McCarthy, dude. It has to be.
You say that. However, Jerry Jones has a way of doing things his own way, and I honestly think that it's in his best interest to just let this ship sink and let it go the rest of the season. This season, in Jerry's mind and in Cowboys fans' minds, is already a loss. Making a change, especially after making a trade for a number 4 receiver, essentially, with Mango, is chances are good that doesn't spell, hey, we're trying to win right now.
Yeah,
I'm honestly in the camp of that McCarthy and the coaching staff is going to stay the rest of the season, and then he'll be fired after the season. It doesn't make a lot of logistical sense right now for Jones to make a move, especially given his reputation. He doesn't typically fire coaches mid-season unless it's real bad. He even waited on Jason Garrett until after the season was done. Wade Phillips. Bill Parcells. So
True.
I don't see a reason why he makes a move until the season is done. You know who is on the hot seat for me? You mentioned Antonio Pierce. He's one, but given the reputation of complete ineptitude in the front office, take a look at Matt Eberflus in Chicago.
I forgot about him.
That team is severely underperforming with the pieces that they have, and Caleb Williams is regressing. They do not want another situation like a Justin Fields. Granted, 2 different abilities, 2 different types of two different tiers of quarterback, I would say, as far as what they are to a team. But as far as that coaching staff goes, their leash is short. And there's a possibility that Eberflus could be the head that gets chopped off next.
I honestly, I completely forgot about him.
Yeah, me too.
I really did. I completely forgot about him.
So that's a thought.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you one too.
Okay.
Brian Daboll in New York, ineptitude for multiple seasons. Obviously, not the same amount of talent, but you're probably going a different direction at quarterback. You may have your running back. We'll see how he fares the rest of the season when people are focusing on him. But I think it makes a lot of sense if you are the Giants, not necessarily because he's a bad coach, but just to kind of clean things out and start over. You're probably going to get rid of Daboll either sometime this season or after the season.
Do you think that Jones goes with him?
They're definitely moving out from Daniel Jones.
Jones should definitely be gone. Like, even if they somehow keep him,
he should be gone.
I think
he just
that
signed that extension.
I think that saved Brian Daboll, though.
After the season.
Right.
Okay.
I think that saves Brian Daboll because I think he's going to get another year because he's going to get to pick his quarterback, and then if that doesn't work, then he'll go. Then he'll go.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of where I was leaning as well. I didn't see.
He'll get to choose his quarterback this upcoming draft, and then if it's still terrible, then he gets fired.
But you have to think say you want to go, you have a certain player in mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, let's follow down the rabbit hole real quick. We don't do this often. Let's hop down the rabbit hole. The Giants are going to be bad enough to probably have a top 5 pick.
Easily.
Right. So So let's say Shedeur Sanders is on the board. You got an opportunity to get like Shedeur Sanders or Cam.
Will Dion allow that?
See, I don't think they're going to be bad enough to get Cam Ward. I don't because Cam Ward's going to go number one, and I don't think they're going to get number one.
Yeah, Cam Ward's not going to go number one. Travis Hunter's going to go number one.
You don't think he's going to? You don't think Cam Ward's going to go number one?
Nah, Travis Hunter's going to go number one.
All right, so if he goes 2 or 3, then the Giants may have a shot at him. Mike.
So I'm thinking, either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. Let's just say one of those guys gets brought in.
Yep.
Because those are 2 of your top quarterbacks, right? So you bring a guy like that in, you look at Daboll, and you say maybe he's not the right coach for this type of player anyway. So let's just get rid of the whole staff. They
could be tanking on purpose too.
Let's get a staff in here that's going to work with a young quarterback and help him develop from year one, right? The thing with Daboll is, I'm not saying that he can't do that, but I'm saying that maybe you just want to change. Sometimes you just want to get the juju out of the building, get all that stuff done, and let's start over fresh. You're starting over a new quarterback, like 99%. Do you want to have the same hangover with Daboll and his staff, unless you're going to fire a lot of the staff and keep him? But you probably just let him go too. It's much easier to get rid of a coach and just start everything over. Right. So if you're the Giants, you may want to go that way, which would make sense to get rid of Daboll because they're not winning and they haven't been good for multiple years. Right. They had the 1 year, 3 years ago, where they were really outplayed who everybody thought they were. But other than that, there hasn't been a lot with Daboll there as a head coach. So, I mean, you could say like, oh, we want to give him another year with a new quarterback, but why? Right. If I'm an owner or a GM of an NFL team, I'm looking at it as a business aspect. So the most logical business decision is we got this guy who hasn't been able to win. Granted, there have been some things that may have made it difficult for him, but do we want to put him with a young quarterback and you got the axe hanging over his head? Or do we want to just bring in a new guy and let them develop together? I mean,
it's a fair question. If I'm New York, first of all, I don't know that Daboll's been given a completely fair shake given the talent on this team. This is not a talent-rich environment in New York right now. If you want, there are some things he's been able to do positive with the group that he's had, but it's been few and far between. And honestly, they were better with Barkley. Yeah. That being said, I don't know that getting rid of Daboll is immediately the answer. Now, I don't see, first of all, there's a solid chance that if the game they're playing in Germany right now, that game is likely for the number 1, maybe number 2 pick. It's Carolina and New York right now, and I think the loser of that
Patriots on the number 1 pick right now, though.
Patriots. Okay, Patriots have it.
Patriots on the number 1
but the
pick.
Patriots aren't going to go after a quarterback. They've got their quarterback.
Right.
No,
So
they would. If they get the number 1, if the Pats do end up with the number 1 pick, they'll trade it back. They'll trade it back to like probably somewhere within the top 10 because they don't need a quarterback. They need a wide receiver.
And they could be looking. You could be looking at 2 of those teams that are in
both
number 1 pick right now.
A little bit of Troy Brown.
No, cool. You're right. Hunter could go to the Pats if they decide to keep.
There's a lot of teams that would draft Hunter number 1.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that would draft Hunter number 1.
Mm-hmm. And then it's just a matter of like I think it's either going to be between New York and Carolina who gets Cam Ward, who gets Shedeur Sanders.
And don't forget about Jacksonville. They won't be after a quarterback, but they'll be a high pick because they suck too.
Yeah, they do. They do. Pats will be in a position where they draft the best overall, which I think will be Hunter. You look at Carolina, you look at New York. One of those 2 teams, they're gonna flip. They're gonna basically interchange quarterbacks. One's gonna go Cam Ward. One's gonna go Shedeur Sanders. If I had to put my money on it, I think Cam Ward goes to New York, and Shedeur Sanders goes to Carolina.
Update on the Carolina game.
Don't go to Cleveland. I'm happy. I do not send Cam Ward to Cleveland to die as a quarterback because quarterbacks die in Cleveland.
They do.
I used to think the same thing about Detroit.
They're a vortex of negative energy. So don't.
Dude, Carolina is a black hole of just negativity.
Carolina's problem is ineptitude. They're just inept. You got an owner who wants to be the guy who makes a decision on the player based off that he likes his family and, he's a nice clean cut kid and all that stuff. That doesn't matter when you're on the football field. I'm not saying like CJ Stroud's out there beating women or doing drugs or shooting people or any of that stuff. I'm just saying he liked the person, and that's what he made his decision on who he wanted the quarterback to be. Not the film, right? Not what you see on the field, not the workouts, but that he liked the person better.
Yeah.
And that's not how you make a decision. Whether it's right, that's not how you make a decision. And with that kind of ineptitude, I mean, if I'm Dion, I wouldn't want Shedeur there.
Yeah.
Oh, I would, if the Panthers draft Shedeur Sanders, I would, if I'm him, I would outright protest and be like, nope, you can trade me. I'm out of here.
Well, the player's not going to do that because it looks bad. The player's not going to do that, but he'll do what Eli Manning let his dad do all the talking. He'll do what Eli Manning,
I'm sorry, I don't want to go to San Diego.
I would tell Pops, be like, you could tell this team I ain't playing for them if they draft me.
Oh, Dion would be like, you're not on the list of teams that I want my son to go to. Don't draft him.
So let's can we have an actual conversation real quick about the Bryce Young conundrum in Carolina?
Let's do it.
So my thoughts in regard to Carolina's QB situation are as follows. Bryce Young earlier this season was benched. Understandable. He was not playing well, needed some time to mentally develop. I think, honestly, that more quarterbacks should be riding the pine, learning from veterans like Andy Dalton. Not to say Andy Dalton's a world beater, but he's been around. Okay.
Dude, I think they should sit in an entire season.
I completely agree. Throwing them into the fire in a lot of cases does not breed a winner. There are exceptions to that rule, but Bryce Young is the rule. He's not the exception.
Yeah.
That said, I think he's played better since Dalton has been out. So Carolina is actually talking about them going after a quarterback. They've got a decision to make. And now in the realm of David Tepper and the Carolina coaching staff, do they pack Bryce Young up, ship him off to who knows where, maybe Cleveland, and go after Shedeur Sanders, or do they, based on the rest of the season, stick with Bryce Young?
So I'll tell you what I would do.
Okay.
If I were them, I would stick with Bryce Young.
Okay.
I would go out and I would get a solid backup, like a Jacoby Brissett-esque backup, someone who can start a couple of games if you need him to, someone who can push Bryce in training camp, push Bryce in off season, and you say, hey, it's an open competition. We're giving you an opportunity, but it's an open competition. I would allow him to do that and see if we can get more out of him. And I would draft the best player on the offensive line that's available when I pick, because your line is hot trash.
Yes.
I would fill out the other needs and see, okay, if we put a good line around Bryce, if we put some better quality receivers around Bryce, right? Maybe we go out and draft a guy that can come in and help this now very young room besides Adam Thielen learn how to be better players. Maybe that allows Bryce to be the best version of himself. Every year there's going to be 3 or 4 quarterbacks. If you suck enough, you'll get an opportunity to get another quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So I would see what I'd have with Bryce continuing moving forward. If, like you said, he plays well the rest of the season. Me and TJ were talking about before we got on how a lot of these guys need time. And it may not be a whole season. It may be 4 games. It may be a season and a half. But you bring in guys that can challenge them as the backup or the projected backup.
Yeah, push him.
The backup outplays you, he plays. If you outplay him, then you start playing.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. I completely agree. And honestly, Bryce doesn't need the best offensive line in front of him. He just needs maybe 1 to 2 more seconds in the pocket before he has to start running for his life.
You gotta remember too, right? Like Bryce came from an Alabama team that was basically a friggin' NFL, these Alabama quarterbacks, prime example, like Mac Jones, right? Just these quarterbacks from Alabama are surrounded. Same thing with Trevor Lawrence. Their offensive line, their receivers are NFL ready. It's practically an NFL team. And then you're going from that to that jump that they like. You're no longer the top. Your offensive line is not like. You make that transition where you don't have that anymore. You don't have 5 seconds in the pocket. You got, if you're lucky, 2.5. Mm-hmm. It's just that it's that type of a jump, that type of an adjustment. Like if you can't read a defense, which some of those, Mac Jones sucked at reading defenses. He was terrible at it. He couldn't make a decision unless he had 4 seconds. Look at the receivers Mac Jones was throwing to. The Mac Jones and Tua-led Alabama team. Look at the receivers they were throwing to. Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, and who's the other one there? The one that went to Denver, I believe. 3 of them.
But to Tua's defense, he's done it in the NFL. He just can't stop getting concussions.
No. That's what I mean. Like Tua is a halfway decent quarterback. 100%. You're right. But some of these guys can make the leap, and some of them just.
But you could see that Matt couldn't make the leap in college.
Yeah.
He would struggle with making great plays in college against inferior talent.
In college,
that was going to somehow come to the NFL, and he was going to get better playing against guys who were better than probably even his own.
I'm with you, Cool, on the whole. You got to give Bryce a fair shot. You got to get him some linemen. You got to get him maybe a tight end and another receiver. You do got to put some weapon. You got to put some weapons around him and see if he can do it. You got to get his offensive line better so he's not, so he's not trying to make 3 reads in friggin' 1.7 second. Like you got to get him a little bit of help. Like I think you're right there. You got to get him something, and then if you get the same result, then it's time to move on. It's time to move on.
Can I make a comparison and see if you guys tell me if I'm off base here? Okay. Mac Jones is the much less successful version of Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was able to make the jump to the NFL with pretty decent success. Coming from Boston College, he did not wow people. Ended up going to an Atlanta team that desperately needed a quarterback and really matured under that Atlanta coaching staff his first couple seasons, and then made an impact in the NFL.
Yeah,
I think that when New England got Mac Jones, they were hoping for that kind of development from him and that kind of maturity, and I don't know that they found it.
Well, TJ,
I don't think they found it.
What are your thoughts, man? You hop in here with us. What do you think?
Yeah.
I think Mac Jones is more like the Wish version of Matt Ryan.
Wish version?
The Timu version.
No. I can't believe you went there, but that's so true.
But honestly, watching the game on the side here and knowing how we did last week, I think Bryce Young is playing his way into staying. I think the couple weeks really did a good job on him. I don't know if it maybe just slowed everything down, gave him a chance to breathe, but he's making some really good throws, really good reads out there. And in this game specifically, since I'm watching it, because obviously I don't go out of my way to watch, Carolina Panther games. When
Chuba Hubbard just scored, by the way.
Any other game is on.
Chuba Hubbard is reversing.
Chuba Hubbard just scored. It's 17-7 Carolina.
He had over 100 total all-purpose yards by halftime in this game. That's crazy.
Yeah, Chuba's a good player. But again,
he is.
When you get comfortable, maybe letting Deontay Johnson walk, right? Maybe moving some of those guys out that they moved out. You got some of the issues out of the locker room. And not saying he was running around talking trash to Bryce Young or anything, but maybe sometimes you just need certain guys with certain personalities. Bryce Young doesn't strike me as a guy who's a vocal leader. I think mentality-wise, he reminds me of like a Jalen Hurts, right? Like he's not going to say too much. He can be outspoken when need be, but he's more of a quiet leader. So when you have some guys that just personality-wise are just really strong and have a lot to say, and give me the ball, I'm here to be the number one, blah blah blah. That can affect your quarterback and make him kind of second guess things because you're wanting to get certain guys the ball. Whereas now you kind of feel like, hey, whoever's open, I'm just throwing it, right? I'm just doing my reads. I'm not worried about this guy coming up to me after the game or saying something or whatever, or looking at me a certain way. I can just go out there and just play. And maybe that's what we have happening there. Sorry, TJ, I jumped in. My bad.
Oh, no, I was done. That was all I had.
Oh, okay.
That was a good transition.
I am with Cool on that, though. I don't think they should give up on Bryce just yet. One more year.
Yeah, I think you got 3 years, right? You got 3 years because you got to build a defense too. There's a lot of work that Carolina needs to do. So you got a guy on a rookie contract for 3 more years. So you can figure out, the 2 years, and you can exercise the 5th year option if you want. So you've got time to figure out if he's going to be able to make the transition while you build up everything else.
Can we give some flowers to Chuba Hubbard though, real quick? I understand that we're saying he's a good player, but
100%.
He is doing what he's doing this season with the same offensive line that both Bryce Young and Andy Dalton are playing behind. So
that's a very good point.
Perspective.
I'll tip my hat to him. And you know what, dude? You know what's surprising is he's not built like a freight train. He's not built, like a big, bruiser, banger running back. But that dude runs people over. Like, he's incredibly hard to bring down.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the fantasy quarterback that I'm playing against this week is Joe Burrow. Pray for my soul. But Chuba Hubbard is on my team, and he's actually doing what he can to reverse the Joe Burrow effect right now. Luckily, the dude didn't have Jamar Chase. Otherwise, I'd have been cooked by halftime on Thursday. But we will.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've been a victim of Jamar Chase this week, you may be entitled to financial compensation.
And the worst part is, I've got a lot of people on buy, so I said, I'm going to just take a chance, and I went and grabbed Khalil Herbert and put him in. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Khalil Herbert got
It looks like Carolina's going to win this game. They're headed into the fourth quarter, and it's 17-7.
Good job, me. All right, but guys, mid-season thoughts. Who are your top 6 teams in the NFC and the AFC? I'm sure we'll probably have similar, if not the same list. TJ, we'll start with you. Who's your top 6 teams in the NFC and your top 6 teams in the AFC?
Oof. NFC, I'd say Eagles. Trying to think. I'd say Eagles, Falcons, maybe the Buccaneers if they can figure things out because they were looking good for a while. Detroit Lions, obviously, they're probably the number 1 seed. Vikings, and I guess miscellaneous for the last spot. AFC, I'll ride with my Steelers for now. I'm just waiting for the bottom to fall out. They do play against a very good team, so we'll actually get to see them against a non-New York team, how Russell Wilson can play. Got to go with the Ravens, unfortunately.
I love it.
Texans are looking good. I guess the Broncos, Bills, and
don't forget the referee's favorite team.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna leave them out. Now I'll go with the favorite team of the Zebras, Kansas City. Chargers are close, but they got to get their offense together for a couple weeks in a row for me to take them serious.
Yeah, they're too wishy-washy. I feel that. All right, I'll give you guys mine real quick. I'll start in the AFC. I'll go Bills. I'll go Steelers and Ravens. I'll go Texans. I'll also go the Chiefs. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yeah, we'll go Broncos for the 6th one. We'll go Broncos for the 6th one right now. Because like you said, they're more consistent at this time. TJ's list left off the Commanders, and I'm gonna just say I'll go the same: Commanders, Eagles, Lions, Falcons. I don't believe in the Cardinals. I know that they're number one, but I don't believe in the Cardinals. I still think the 49ers are the team that's going to win that division. So I put the 49ers in there. And probably the Buccaneers for my last one, just because they've got enough to be a top 6. But if we were doing 5, they would definitely be the one I'd leave off.
You taking the Buccaneers over the Falcons, who currently lead that division?
Did I not say the Falcons?
Yeah, you did say Falcons.
I must have missed them. I'm sorry.
You said Falcons.
I thought I said Falcons.
My bad.
If I did, that's terrible of me. Yeah.
I want to jump in real quick. I replaced my miscellaneous. I thought I said Washington already. So yeah, Washington would definitely be in the mix too for me.
Yeah, I figured that was a accidental oversight.
Yeah.
All right.
Especially since you're playing today, right?
Yeah, I'm not putting the Buccaneers ahead of the Commanders by far. Trust me, that's not happening. Yeah, that was my bad. But yeah, Commanders are in there too.
All right. Steelers at 6 for me. I think that team needs to figure out who they're going with long-term at quarterback, and I don't think it should be Russell Wilson, in my opinion. But I mean, 6-2, you can't really argue with the results as far as that goes. The 5 team, I think, is going to be Houston for me. Houston has taken a marked step back from last season, and they've also lost 2 of 3 right now. And then they're going up against a Lions team tonight that has been a buzzsaw to basically everybody.
And they lost Stephon Diggs.
Say again?
And they lost Stephon Diggs with the ACL.
Yes, they did.
Yep.
Yes, they did. At 4. It's a little bit tougher. I think that that I should probably actually put, as long as they continue to play well. No, you know what? I'm a flip flop. Give me the Bengals at 5. Give me the Texans at 4. I think the Bengals have something to say about the rest of the season. Do I think they win the division? That's probably not going to happen. I think the Ravens come and take the division, but I think that the Bengals could get into a playoff spot. So that's something to think about. And so I'm going to put the Texans at 4, the Bengals at 5. I want the Bills at 3. I think that team is easily the best in the AFC East, but that's a pretty low bar.
That's an incredibly low bar.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be a division win for them. But I think that they've earned the 3rd best team in the AFC title, and I think Baltimore's 2, KC's number 1. And until somebody tops KC, that's just going to be the way it is. I understand the Zebras, but Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. Plus, they had DeAndre Hopkins. That's a piece for them. No doubt about that. On the other side, say again. Oh, okay. Commanders at 6 for me. I really like that team, but I think they're incredibly young, and I think they are going to come up against a wall against these more experienced NFC teams. I think based on experience, I'm going to put the Cardinals at 5. The 49ers are going to jump them. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. The Rams are going to fall off the table in that NFC West as well. And I think it's going to be down to the 49ers and Cardinals. And I don't think it's going to get to a week 17 game for the division title. I think that division is going to be the 49ers before too long, especially as McCaffrey gets back.
Right.
The 4 spot, in my opinion, I think belongs to the Falcons. That Falcons team has a lot of really good pieces. I think Kirk Cousins getting out of Minnesota was probably the best thing for him, getting into a staff and a fan base that actually believes that he can do good work and has done decent work. And he's also bitten off the primetime bug for the most part. So I like what I've seen from him.
Sure.
3, I got to go with the I'm going to put I understand that the injury bug has bitten them and they've been a little bit inconsistent, but I have to put the 49ers in that 3 spot. I still think at their full potential, they are the 3rd best team in the NFC, and I don't think it's particularly close. So give them time to get healthy, and they will be there at the season's end, guaranteed there. And then for number 2, Minnesota. Right now, the Sam Darnold effect is still in full swing in Minnesota. They're well outperforming expectations there, especially with J.J. McCarthy, their rookie quarterback, being out. But we talked about the Bryce Young effect and how young quarterbacks should sit back and watch for a year or two. J.J. McCarthy's been kind of forced into that by default, so he very well could be better for it down the line. Sam Darnold, maybe not the long-term answer in Minnesota, but he has definitely earned another shot on another roster once JJ comes back. And but they've been playing well around him. Justin Jefferson's been fantastic. Aaron Jones has been fantastic. So definitely look for Minnesota to be there come the end of the season. Do I think they're a Super Bowl team? No. But they have a chance to at least win if not a couple of playoff games. So that could be a lot of fun. And then it's hard to argue with the Lions at 1. They just went into Lambeau in a rainy, blustery day in Green Bay and beat the Packers on their home turf. It's hard to argue that, and the score was not indicative of how lopsided that game really was. So I like the Lions at 1, and I don't think there's really much to say about that.
All right, Bobby, who you got?
All right, I'll start in the NFC. Obviously, the Lions are 1. Just they've been battle tested all year. They've had a lot of tough games and have shown that they can win outside of the dome, which is, that's impressive. Being able to win being able to win inside your home, the dome is one thing, but being able to win in crap weather and all sorts of scenarios, they're by far to me the best team in the NFC. No, yeah. Then I'm going to have to go with Washington behind them. They've surprised me a lot this year. I do think Washington needs a couple more pieces to realistically, be a real threat to like any of the top teams in the league, but they are on their way. They're building something pretty good over there. Number 3 would be the Eagles. As long as they can not get in their own way, they'll be fine. I think they got plenty of talent to make a real deep playoff run, if not be right back in the Super Bowl contention kind of field. I think they got the talent there. There's more than enough talent to get right back where they were a couple of years ago. They just got to be smart about how they approach the game planning and stuff like that. But they'll be fine. At 3, at 4, I'm gonna have to go with the Falcons. I think once again they're building something up pretty good there. I do like the direction that's heading. 5 is going to be the Packers, and then 6 would have to be the Bucks. For the NFC, heading up to the AFC, obviously, screw the Chiefs. They're number 1 though. The Chiefs. They're number 1. Record-wise, Buffalo sits at number 2, but it's kind of hard for me to – I don't know. Like, this is a jumbled mess, man. I don't trust Buffalo in high-pressure situations. I truly don't. Yeah. Record-wise, they're number 2. Record-wise, they're the second-best team in the AFC. But I think a 4 or a 5 ranked team could catch them on a bad day and knock them completely out of the playoffs. Like if they end up playing like a team like the Texans, I think the Texans have a legitimate shot at beating them. But I'll put them at number 2 just for record's sake. So 1 and 2 would be KC, Buffalo. I'm gonna put Houston at number 3. Pittsburgh at number 4. the Ravens at number 5. And I'm going to say, I don't think Cincy's going to be this bad. I don't think they're going to look this bad. They'll be the number 16.
Can you elaborate a little more on Baltimore? I'm curious as to why you put them 5.
Because I don't trust them in high pressure situations. Lamar and that team have a lot of talent, and I love their style of play. I love the two tight end kind of deal that they run, and they've always been their style of play to me is I like it a lot because I like smash mouth, hard nosed football, but I have trouble putting faith in them in high pressure situations just because of their past history with it. But they're good, man. I'll give you all the credit in the world. They're set up once again. They're one of the teams in the AFC set up to be a number 2 or a number 3. I just from previous history, having faith in that team's tough in a high pressure situation.
They're one big toe away from beating KC week 1.
They were. That's what I'm saying. They just.
One big toe. I love
that. they were though. It's just until they prove that they have like their defining moment of like we're here, and they haven't had that yet for me in a long time. They haven't had a moment like that in a long time.
Okay,
that's why. And I honestly I would trust a team like the Texans to have that moment before them. That's all. But it's a jumbled mess in the AFC. Any one of those teams could flip-flop from anywhere from like 2 to 5. You could you could interswitch any one of those teams and it would work because they're all kind of just jumbled in there. The Steelers are a wild card though. If they get a solid quarterback on that team, watch out, man, because what they're doing right now with the kind of mess that they have at QB is impressive. I mean, as much crap as people give Tomlin, and people give him a lot of crap, the guy's turned chicken salad, you've been able to make chicken salad out of chicken shit for years. For years. Like, people give him a lot of crap. Like, you got to, like, when you're in predicaments like that, that's coaching staff, right? That's coaching staff. That's upper management. That's them making moves to kind of stay in the hunt. I mean, they've been 500 or better or winning seasons. They've been in the mix forever. And there's times where they should have been dead and buried, and they're right there.
It's a fantastic transition because the Ravens go to Pittsburgh next week.
Yeah. That's going to be a game to watch. That'll be a game to watch. I think that's going to be a good game.
So, speaking of game to watches, we have a couple we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But before we get there, NFL trade deadline deals. So we had some deals come through on the trade deadline. Instead of going through all the deals, I'll just go around and let you guys give any deal that you thought was impactful or interesting that you want to talk about. TJ, we'll start with you and we'll just go around.
I thought the Deontay Johnson pickup by Baltimore was interesting. I know that they see a need for receivers, but number one, I understand they got an up close view of him playing in Pittsburgh, but he's always been a guy who, he makes big plays, but then he also makes simple mistakes. And on top of that, he's not the best locker room guy. Mike Tomlin, again, let's continue to give him some flowers here. He always tends to keep bad situations under wraps. I don't know what it is about him, but obviously it unraveled very quickly in Carolina. Obviously, where they are as a franchise in general probably didn't help the situation. But I just don't see why Baltimore decided to get Deontay Johnson. Maybe it was the price tag, what they had to give up pick-wise. I have no idea, but that was kind of a head-scratcher to me. I felt like they could have they had better options out there, but they kind of settled for him a little bit.
What about you, Bobby?
I'm trying to think. The Deontay Johnson one was interesting. The Patriots one for me, the Yannick Ngakoue one that we got him. They just, I don't know if I wasn't expecting it or I don't know. I think that's interesting because they've struggled at that linebacker / defensive end spot for a while now, and they lost Judon, and ever since they lost Judon, it's been their defense, their run defense has been awful. People are averaging like almost 5 yards a carry on them running the football. It's so hopefully Ngakoue can kind of help that out, but that would be. The Johnson one was interesting though, because it had to have been Baltimore had to have been the price tag and what they think they can get out of them. But though that's my take. Free agency wasn't too interesting this year. Or
the trade deadline.
The trade deadline. The trade deadline wasn't too interesting this year. There wasn't really anything that really stands out for me to kind of go over.
Chris, what about you, sir?
So I want to give a shout out to all the AFC teams who are giving Tennessee real dirty looks right now.
Oh shit, I forgot about that one. The DeAndre Hopkins one.
So two things. You let Derrick Henry go for a cup of coffee. He goes to Baltimore. He's having a career season. You let DeAndre Hopkins go to Kansas City for a 5th round pick.
And he scores 2 touchdowns in the first 5 days.
Everybody in the AFC is looking at Tennessee with murderous eyes right now. There is not a single AFC team that is a fan of Tennessee right now in any sense of the word.
And see,
because
last year everybody was saying the Eagles were the only ones that did over on Tennessee. Everybody gets over on Tennessee. It's not just us.
Yeah, exactly. It's real rough. They're like the clerk at the gas station. You can quick change. It's that's basically it for Tennessee right now. And there is and now they're 2-7. So I mean, I guess just desserts for them. But yeah, I mean, you got to look at DeAndre Hopkins. He was in need for KC. They had to get an impact wide receiver while they've had the injury bug hit. And then Mahomes has played markedly better since Hopkins came into the fold. If you want to count that as a deadline deal, I think that's your best deadline deal. One of necessity was Zadarius Smith going to Detroit. They needed to find a body to replace Aiden Hutchinson. They're not going to replace his workload or work ethic, but Zadarius Smith is a good one. And when Aiden comes back, that's going to be a line that's even better. So although Aiden probably won't be back before the end of the season. So the biggest thing for me is definitely the DeAndre Hopkins deal to KC. That really puts them on another level offensively, and their defense has been playing pretty well all season. So you got to KC, I think, swindled Tennessee out of DeAndre Hopkins there. So
I like Mike Williams going to the Steelers. Because Mike Williams as a secondary receiver, right? We saw what he could do with Justin Herbert, right? We know things weren't looking really good with Aaron Rodgers, but it doesn't feel like Aaron Rodgers really liked him, right? And Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys who doesn't like he's not going to throw you the ball. So I think allowing him to go to another situation. The Steelers aren't a super pass-heavy team, but having another guy where Pickens is not the total focus of the defense. Right now, you've got another guy out there at the wide receiver position. Because fair move for tight end, like you got some guys at tight end that get it done. But having another receiver that has some history of being really good catching the ball, can run routes, can do a lot of things on the field. Biggest issue with him has always been health. Right, that was with that whole unit. I think they're in LA now, the Chargers. At that point, that whole unit just kind of had that issue. But I like him going there. I think he'll have a chance to maybe not be an 800 or 900 yard receiver, 1,000-yard receiver now, but I think he'll have a great opportunity to be a good secondary receiver and be a guy that can make plays, make catches, and have someone else that defenses
This is how
have.
Tennessee be looking at the rest of the league right now.
No, that's how the rest of the league should be looking at Tennessee right now. But yeah, so I think you guys all make some great points about it. Even Bobby, since he feels like there wasn't anything, hey, that's his prerogative. He's Bobby Brown, right? So, all right, quick question, everybody. Do you think there's any teams, NFC, AFC, anybody that can compete with the Kansas City Chiefs?
No, because they have the refs on their side. No.
I 100% agree. Chris,
No.
what are your thoughts?
There's no team because they have when you have the refs, it doesn't matter.
Is Bobby really allowed to complain about the refs?
As long as he's not a Chiefs fan, I allow it.
Hey,
But-
the refs ain't on our side anymore, man.
Hey, but to your point, he really doesn't have a lot of room to complain. Like he can't complain too much. He can say a few things, but then he's got to stop it because you can't spend a decade enjoying the same happiness and then get mad when it moves on to
Oh
somebody
no,
else.
they're getting the Patriots treatment. They are. They're 100% getting the Patriot Tom Brady like treatment. They are.
What do you think, Chris?
So 2 things. So I don't sound like a complete homer. I'm gonna give you 2. Okay. One of them is going to be a team that, to a point I made earlier, was one big toe away from beating in week 1. And I think that on a good day, not even a great day, on a good day, Baltimore runs with KC.
Okay.
First of all, Mark Andrews is actually playing like a top tier tight end.
Again.
Yep, he's starting to find it again. Derrick Henry having the best season of his career. Lamar Jackson getting into midseason form if he's not already there. Definitely, and then of course Zay Flowers, who's been good all season. This is a team that if you played a series of 5, it would go to 5 games. In my opinion. That's in the AFC. The other one I have to give some love to my Lions. The Lions went into Arrowhead, not this year, but last year, week 1, beat them in Arrowhead.
The Lions would make. See, I don't know about Baltimore, but I think the Lions do have a legitimate shot. I think they run the ball well. I think they're smart with the football.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big one too. The Lions and Goff are. I think he's going to be more mature with the football and not try and take like Lamar is a risk taker. He's a risk taker. He's a big play guy. Like sometimes in high pressure situations, you just got to take what the defense will give you and just be smart with the football. And I think the Lions could do that. They could run the clock out on Kansas City and do that to them. They could.
It's not even just that they could run the clock out on them. The Lions offense, the Lions team. This is a team that's built to win 13-10, or a team that's built to win 43-37.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a lot of things in between there. They had. You can call it what you want. Jameson Williams was out for the last 2 games due to his suspension, and they did not miss a beat.
Mm-hmm.
They still have. I mean, they lost Brian Branch in the first quarter of that Green Bay game.
Mm-hmm.
He was ejected for that hit.
Yep.
And their defense did not miss a beat. They held Green Bay to it was like 14 points. It was 14 points in Lambeau Field.
Oh
that
my
is
God,
a legitimate
just
team.
got picked with 5 minutes to go in the game. You idiot. You stupid idiot, Daniel Jones.
That's an experiment that needs to end in New York. But
What did Cole say? I didn't hear what he said.
There's nothing to say with Daniel Jones. Go ahead, Chris.
You stupid
Detroit
idiot.
can run with anybody, including with KC. That is my Super Bowl script right now, is KC and Detroit. And I honestly, I'm through the moon as a Lions fan, but at the same time, like the thought of them going up against KC in the Super Bowl, it's not that I don't care who wins, but it's going to be a good game regardless, just as a football fan. So I'm excited to see that game happen. I kind of wish that those two played together in the NFC so we could see them play more, because that's a fantastic game to watch. So that's my piece. I think Detroit runs with KC, but I also think that Baltimore can do it.
All right. We've got Bobby's answer. So TJ, what are your thoughts, sir?
Baltimore would be up there just because they are stacked, but I honestly think the biggest threat to them in the AFC side would be, believe it or not, the Buffalo Bills. You know, they've gone toe-to-toe with them the past couple years, but this year with KC, DeAndre Hopkins going over there, it's definitely helped out their offense, but they're not that score 40 or 50 easy on you team anymore. Yeah, I think it's more in the Buffalo Bills wheelhouse now, where they could go toe-to-toe with them, stand a chance, and have it be in that low to mid-20s game where they can get away with the game-winning score in the end. Overall for the Super Bowl, we have the same pick. I have Kansas City and Detroit, but I have Detroit beating Kansas City. So Detroit would be the team for me to beat, just because I just love Campbell. I love Goff. I think I think in the NFC, I'm becoming a Lions fan just because I just love the culture that they have over there now.
TJ, to your point, Amari Cooper at the trade deadline went over to Buffalo. That's a piece that they desperately needed as well.
Yeah.
I even forgot about that. Yeah, so they even have some offensive help now. Yeah, to me, like I said, it'd be more what Kansas City's struggling with offense now. You know, I think Buffalo's defense would be able to keep them in the game better now.
And it is entertaining watching Mahomes and Josh Allen go back and forth. Those games are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think Baltimore is a team.
They changed the overtime rules in the playoffs.
But that's what like those Buffalo and Kansas City know each other really well now, so it's a chess game now. Back like it's fun. Those are fun games to watch.
I think you look from a talent perspective.
If that was the AFC Conference Championship game, that'd be must-see TV.
100%.
Must-see.
Talent-wise, I'd say Buffalo, like it's been said. Baltimore has been said. I don't really think there's anybody else from the AFC who could really challenge them. I think from the NFC, I'd go with the Lions. And you can call this a homer pick, but talent-wise, I'd also say the Eagles stand a chance. We've seen them play them in the Super Bowl. We saw a mistake from Hurts that pretty much, all things considered, even with the penalties and everything, if we don't get that pick six, I think they probably have a better chance than they did of winning the game, and they really won it because of something they let fly all game and they decided to call it to help Kansas City. But I think they talent-wise can hang with them. The challenge would be, of course, if they were able to give Nick Sirianni one of those Mr. T shots before he gets on the airplane and get him out of the picture for the game. If they were to do something like that, I think they really would stand a better chance. But I think talent-wise, they do.
Just take Nick Sirianni and duct tape him to one of the concrete pylons before he even comes out of the locker room.
Oh my God!
And just leave him in the locker room.
Or Big Dom should just give him a tranquilizer in his.
just take one of those little gas-powered little tranquilizer pistols and
that would be helpful too.
Give me a Saquon Barkley 180 hurdle over any of the Chiefs players as well.
They should call the tush hurdle.
I'm gonna call that the rear view.
I thought about that, but you know that's Naomi's finisher in WWE, and I'm a big wrestling fan.
Okay,
but I do
enough.
like that though. I thought about that too, definitely. All right, guys. So we got 3 games to preview here. So we'll quickly go over those, and then we'll hit the rest of the docket. So had to reach to get 3 good games this week, in my opinion. I had to do a little reach. I even had to include the Thursday night game for next week. Thursday night game for this week. I mean, if there's anything you guys want to talk about it, we can. For me, it's basically more of the same, right? These are 2 teams that played once already in Baltimore and Cincinnati, and we know it's going to come down to the end. It always does between those 2, so nothing new. Couple of iffy things there, but we've had some calls a lot this year, so as long as it's not every week, I'm good with it.
What was that? The final play? They had 3 face masks in one picture.
I can see that. Hey, well, we know on Thursday nights they don't call face masks. We know that, right? Because Sam Darnold got molested and they didn't even call. So we know they don't care about this. Face mask is not the thing.
Show me on this doll where they touched you.
Yeah, if you want to do face masks and not get called, Thursday night is the place to do that.
Yep,
they've established that. So, but yeah, it was kind of crazy when I saw the replay of that. I was like, wow, yeah, but that ref recruit does not care about that.
No, not even a little bit. I mean,
must have come from the ACC.
Jamar Chase, it was the only real thing to talk about from that game. 5 touchdowns. If you played him in fantasy, you are very happy. If you played against him in fantasy, you are writing your will.
Well, I'm last place anyway, so
yeah, I mean that's fair. I like I said, I played against Burrow, and Burrow put up 40 on Yahoo, so it's a swan song at least so far. But Chuba Hubbard's trying his best to keep me in it. But yeah, it was a great game to watch. That game, it was easily the best Thursday night game of the year, just from an action standpoint, and I mean, especially just after Kirk Herbstreit had to bury his dog. Rest in peace, Ben.
That was tough. That was tough.
But you know what? He got an entertaining game out of it, and I have a feeling that was Ben's doing. So I'm gonna give Ben some props for that. That was pretty cool. But either way, yeah, that Thursday night game was a lot of fun to watch, and it showed how dominant Jamar Chase can be against one of the AFC's better defenses when he is on top of his game. When Burrow and Chase are on the money together, they're a pretty solid duo in the NFL, and there's not a lot defenses can do when they're on the same page like that. So,
very true.
That's all I got to that.
Anything, Bobby?
What are we talking? What was the question again? Refresh memory.
Thursday night football.
Bengals Ravens.
Oh, I think it's going to be a better game than people think. Like I said, I don't.
Really happened, sir.
Wait, what?
That already happened.
Oh no! I thought you were talking about the next one. I thought you were talking about
no.
This was
Talking about the one that happened.
The last Thursday. All right. I thought you were talking about the next Thursday night game.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
A great match.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about the. All right, my bad. My bad, yo.
You know what's
Welcome
going on?
to the NFL Pregame Report.
You're over there playing with dogs. That's what's going on. You're over there playing with dogs and watching the game.
My cat's over here trying to chew on my electrical work behind the computer, and No, I got nothing from last Thursday. No. Nothing that you guys haven't. Nothing that you guys haven't already said.
TJ.
I was really pulling for the Bengals just for division standing purposes, but yeah, it was a good game.
The Bengals the Bengals are going to have a surge at the end of the year. They're not going to be. They won't look this bad.
Yeah, but it may be too late.
Oh no! It probably will be too late for them to do anything about major in the playoffs. But they'll have a surge at the end of the year where they start playing better.
Man, I needed the surge to give the Ravens an L.
I think the Steelers are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and what? Lose instantly in the wild card? Yeah.
As a wild card, absolutely. I think the Steelers are going to get it as a wild card, 100%.
So we'll start off here with the previews with the Steelers and the Commanders. TJ, first or last? I always give you the option when it's your team.
I'll go first since my blood pressure is already up.
Okay.
It should be a good game. I'm excited personally as a Steelers fan. They brought in Russell Wilson because Justin Fields, I guess, wasn't doing enough, even though he was making plays and running for his life with a lackluster O-line. But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see if Russell Wilson can play against somebody other than a New York team that's banged up defensively. So this is going to be a good test, for them. It's also going to be a good test for Jaden Daniels because he's going to be running a little bit too with that defensive front for the Steelers as well. So it'll be interesting to see, how he's able to make reads and adjustments during the game for that too. As a Steelers fan, I really wish I could say this. I'm going to say the Steelers because I'm going to be a homer, but this feels like the kind of game where it's going to go down to the wire, and I do feel like Washington is going to pull it out in the end, but I'm going to go with the Steelers because they're my team.
Fair enough. Bobby, who you got?
I'm going to pick the upset. I'm going to go Steelers. I think this is Jaden Daniels is about to see a real defense. You know, this team Steelers have a good D. And I think they're going to not hold anything back. I think they're going to go after Jaden Daniels. I think they're going to pressure him and they're going to try and put him in bad spots and see how he reacts to guys falling at his feet. And I think they're going to blitz. I think they're going to blitz him a lot and try and get him off his mark. I'm going to go Steelers by 3.
All right. Chris, who you got?
I'm going Commanders here. I think that if this game was in Pittsburgh, I think I might go the other way, but Vegas likes the Commanders by 2. I think I like the Commanders by a little bit more than that. I think they beat the spread here. This is not going to be a lopsided game by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that plays in. I think forcing Jaden Daniels out of the pocket, making him throw on the run, it plays into his hands. I think if you make him improvise and make plays, he's got the physical ability and his eyes downfield to make those plays happen. So in my opinion, I think it comes down to how the Commanders' defense plays against the Steelers' offense is going to determine how the Steelers do in this football game. But Daniels is going to get his. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I have Washington by at least 5 in this game.
Oh, yeah. Jaden Daniels is definitely going to get hit this game for sure.
No, not hit. He's going to get his.
Oh, I think he's hit. I think the Steelers. I think
he's going to get hit. There's no doubt about that. But
I think the Steelers are going to blitz the crap out of him and see how he can handle it.
I think he'll be fine.
So I have to go Steelers. Okay, I have to go Steelers. Okay. I think
divisional rivalry talking
game. Yeah. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Pittsburgh. I think they're going to go into Washington, and I think they're going to show ways of a blueprint to slow down Jaden Daniels that a certain team across the river from them will be able to use on Thursday. I have to go Steelers in this game. Okay, have to go Steelers.
Jaden Daniels is going to win. Is going to win Rookie of the Year, though.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about this week. I need Jaden Daniels to lose this game. That's what I need. Okay.
Yeah, because you guys, 100%. you haven't played the Commanders twice yet, have you?
We haven't played the Commanders at all yet.
Oh, I thought you played them once. Or all right.
It's coming Thursday.
Yes, and then our second game is the Detroit Lions versus the Houston Texans. I'll start this one. I think Detroit has a lot going for them. They've done a lot well. But sometimes you go up against a team that's kind of like, we're at a crossroads at this point. Like, we got to do something. And I think that's what we're looking at with Texans. And I think they're going to be very hungry this game. And it is in Houston, I believe, if I read correctly. Mm-hmm. So you got the home field advantage. You got the crowd. You know that you need a win. And you need to make a statement. They've had a couple of chances to make a statement, and they kind of sort of made a statement, but they didn't win. So we need the statement and the win this week. And this is a week that the Texans can do that. The Lions are not unbeatable, but they are difficult to beat. So I think Houston, if their defense plays as good as it can, if Stroud can just relax and not worry about the pressure and just play football, they'll be able to adapt to not having Stephon Diggs. They did it last year without Stephon Diggs, right? So they can win games. So I think it's just a matter of going out and playing, using the run game, giving Stroud what he's comfortable doing right now, and understanding that this is a must-win in a sense. Like, it's not technically a must-win, but it's a must-win, I think, from a confidence perspective, from a taking the next step perspective for them. And Detroit doesn't really have any pressure. Detroit loses this game, it doesn't change anything for them. They just went out and got beat by a really good team in the AFC. They could have won, but they still are going to be looked at as the best team in the AFC.
Isn't Houston on the losing streak too?
Yeah, they've lost two in a row. Two in
a row, right? Yeah. So this is kind of they need this win.
So you going Houston as well, Bobby?
I am gonna go with the Lions, but I do think Houston puts a hell of a fight up. I think that game is very close. I think it's a field goal touchdown game. I think the Houston does put up a good fight, but Detroit ultimately gets the win.
Oh, sorry, TJ. Go ahead.
Either one's fine.
I feel the same way as Bobby. I think Detroit's going to pull it out in the end. It's going to be a game of the week, but I think Detroit's going to edge out Houston.
I got a couple of points to make about this game. One, this is a question first. Do we know if Nico Collins is activated for tonight?
I believe he's not playing.
He is not playing tonight.
I believe he is not.
Okay. So a couple things. The Texans players just had a players only meeting to go over what they think has been going wrong. This is a 6-2 team, but they're not acting like it. They have a losing streak of 2 games, and it seems like the sky's falling. Okay. So that's something to consider about where their mental is at right now. 2, as far as home field advantage, Lions have one of the best traveling fan bases in the league right now.
Truth.
And
that's very true.
They I think they're about to turn Houston's field into Ford Field Division South.
I don't think Houston's going to let that happen, though.
Hey, you didn't think it was going to happen with Dallas either, but you had more Lions fans in Dallas, and maybe not more Lions fans in Dallas than Dallas fans, but you had some loud Lions fans.
They bail out. They're like cockroaches in the light.
What was it? That was what was it? Was it that Raider game? One of the Raiders home games. It was they had I forget who they were playing, but it was literally 90-10 for the opposed. It was a terrible look. It was a terrible look.
Also, the Lions do get Jameson Williams back. One of the more dynamic receivers in the league right now. He gets the football in his hands. He takes off. He's one of the fastest. He goes 0 to 60 in about a breath and a half. So he is going to be an impact player for this team. And then just the way that Goff is playing, it's kind of hard to argue against him right now. When we're talking 75% completion over his last 6 games.
Yeah,
talking about Goff.
5 or 6 games, he's been incredible.
Yes. It's hard to argue against the Lions winning this game. Vegas likes the Lions by 3.5 on the road. I'd say that they are going to beat that. Do I think it's going to be super lopsided? No, I think Houston's a damn good team. There's no doubt about that. I still think it's going to be, we'll say 27-24. No, 27-23. They got to beat the spread. 27-23. The Lions will win on the road. That's my guess.
That's going to be a good game, though. That is not.
They definitely picked the race Sunday night game. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, but like what do you call it? Houston is not just going to roll over and lie. Like they're going to put a hell of a fight up.
Yep, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun game.
Watch me. Houston's going to win this game. Thursday night football. I'm gonna go last. We've got the Washington Commanders. This is the game in Philadelphia, so they're traveling to Lincoln Financial after catching an L to the Steelers.
So it is in the link. I thought it was at home. It is at the link.
Oh,
it's at the link, right?
It is at the link.
Okay.
Because December 22nd, which is my daughter's birthday, they play in Landover, Maryland, which is why I'm not going because King Lane's daughter's birthday. So we'll just start with TJ and then we'll swing on around.
That sounds good.
All right. Well, Eagles are at home, and Commanders are going to be coming in sad after losing to the Steelers. A lot of guys are going to be banged up because it's going to be a tough game for their offense from the Steelers defense. I see the Eagles winning the game. I see Jalen Hurts having a pretty solid performance. I see it being, probably probably like about a 1 touchdown spread. I'd probably, like 27-20, 28-21, but I'm going with the Eagles getting the win at home.
All right. If the Eagles run the friggin' ball, they'll be fine. The game plan should be keep Jaden Daniels on the friggin' sidelines. Run the ball, control the clock, and take points when they're there. Because I think it's going to be a close game. Don't get cute. Just take the points that are there. But who I think for the Eagles to win this game, they have to run the ball well. If they run the ball well against Washington, they'll be fine. If they can't run the ball and they're going to have to throw 40 times, it might get interesting. I am going to take Eagles play well at home. I think we're going to see a showcase of two young quarterbacks showing off what they can do. I think it's going to be a close game. I am going to take the Eagles by a touchdown. They beat the Commanders, but it is a very, very good game. Once again, we're going to see a showcase of Jaden Daniels and Hurts, and the run game the run game. I think for Philly ultimately does it for them.
The Commanders win today. It'll be a physical game against a very physical Steelers defense. Then 4 days later, they go into Philly, and I think Philly beats them by 10. I think Philly is a bad matchup for the Commanders, both from an offensive side and basically from the offensive side. I think Jalen Hurts outduels Jaden Daniels. And I think that there are more weapons on the side of Philly than Washington has to match up. There's a lot more well-rounded. Plus, Philly's starting to find it. So give them a little bit of confidence. Watch them run. I think that Philly wins that game by 10.
It's the run game, man. If they can Philly can run the ball and control the clock, it's curtains for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. They have got to stop the run.
And physicality wise, of course I'm picking the Eagles. We know this. Physicality wise, I think the thing is the Eagles play Dallas today. That's not going to be an overly physical game, right? I mean, people can get hurt without being a physical game.
Sure.
And a lot of guys probably aren't 100%. But this should be a game where if things play out as I hope they do, we're able to get some guys out earlier in the game. Maybe by midway through the fourth, beginning of the fourth, we can kind of get the backups in, let some guys get little breaks because we're going to turn around and play another game in 4 days. So hopefully we'll be fresher, we'll be better prepared, we'll be at home, and hopefully we'll be able to pick up this win. I really feel like this Commanders team is going to split with us, and I think this is the game that we win. If we win the game in Maryland as well, I will count that as a bonus.
I think y'all should sweep them.
I think we can, but we're going to sweep Dallas, I feel like, just because they're just done. We beat the Giants all the time, and if we can sweep the Commanders as well, I think we can sweep the division. But I always build in a loss somewhere because I always feel like we're going to lose one divisional game at least a year.
Dude, the NFC East is the hardest. Like, you guys are. It's all that division is one of the hardest to predict. I think just because of how well you guys know each other, and just that's one of the hardest of it. Like. It's just super hard to predict those games because you guys know each other so well. They could they're coin flip games, almost every one of them.
Real quick update from Germany. Giants have come back with 5 seconds left to tie that ball game up.
I just saw the field goal. Yeah, I just saw the field goal get kicked. It's good. Yeah.
Yep. So
overtime in Germany.
Yes. Do we have any topics left that you wanted to discuss? I wanted to kind of go rapid fire on the spreads for the rest of the week. Nope, you're muted, sir.
You're muted. Cool. You're muted.
Sir? Nope, you're muted. Nope. Can't hear you.
Sorry.
No
going to the rapid pick.
There we go.
All right, rapid
I kept hitting the button too many times, so it would mute myself back. But we want rapid fire picks. So
all right, cool. Let's do 5 words or less. Let's go around the table on each of these picks. I'll give you guys the spread. You guys tell me what we're looking at. Sound good?
Perfect. Let's do it.
All right, cool. Start with Bobby and work our way around. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Minnesota, Jacksonville. Minnesota favored by 7 on the road in Jacksonville. Mac Jones likely playing for Jacksonville.
Minnesota, and they definitely beat the spread.
TJ?
Minnesota beat the spread.
Minnesota.
Did they beat the spread or no?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. New England, Chicago. Chicago favored by 6.5 at home at Soldier Field. Bobby?
The Patriots suck, so Chicago. It'll be close. It'll be a close game, but the Patriots. I think the Pats are going to lose that game. I do. I don't have a lot of faith in them. Chicago.
TJ?
Bears by 2 touchdowns.
Bears by 2 touchdowns. Okay.
That's kind of where I put it.
I'm gonna put the Bears, but I think the Patriots beat the spread.
What's the spread?
Okay. Spread is 6.5. Chicago favored. So I'm gonna say give me the points, but I think Chicago wins. Also, previous Minnesota beats the spread. So
spread for Chicago.
Okay. Pittsburgh, Washington, we already talked about. San Francisco, Tampa Bay. Niners have the spread favored by 6.5 over Tampa Bay. San Francisco on the road. Bobby?
Tampa. And give me the points.
Tampa Bay outright.
Okay.
I'm gonna say San Francisco, but not by the points.
Okay. So you think San Francisco beats the spread?
No, I don't think San Francisco beats the spread. I think they win, but they don't beat the spread.
I got you. Okay. I'm gonna go San Fran there, but I'm gonna say give me the points. San Francisco wins, in my opinion. Atlanta, New Orleans. Falcons favored by 3.5 on the road in New Orleans. Bobby?
Atlanta's gonna beat the hell out of the Saints.
Yeah.
Yeah, Falcons in a big way.
Yep,
Falcons and then destroy the spread.
It should be by that spread should be.
The Falcons are going to win that game by 3 scores. It's going to be over at half.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be over at half. I think it'll be 2 touchdowns by the end of it, though. So yeah, Atlanta wins. Denver, KC. We didn't talk much on it. KC favored by 7 at Arrowhead. Bobby?
Chiefs by 10.
TJ?
Chiefs will figure out a way with the refs. So,
you think they beat the
Chiefs
spread?
and their extra players cover the spread?
Yeah, the Chiefs and the refs by 10. By 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going KC. Yeah, they beat the spread. Buffalo, Indy. Buffalo favored by 4.5 on the road at Indy. Bob.
Buffalo by 10.
TJ?
Buffalo, but Indy covers.
Okay.
Buffalo and they beat the spread.
Yeah, I would say Buffalo and they beat the spread as well. I think they win that game by a touchdown at least. Titans and Chargers. Chargers are favored by 8 at home at SoFi. Justin Herbert's back. What do you think, Bobby?
Chargers by a touchdown. They beat the spread.
Chargers beat the spread.
Okay.
Chargers beat the spread.
Okay. I'm going to say Chargers as well, but I'm going to say give me the points. Tennessee will cover the spread. All right. And then Arizona, New York Jets. The Jets are favored on the road at Arizona by 1.5 points, which is interesting to me. Bobby?
AZ by 3.
Yeah, Arizona by 3 to 6.
I'm going Jets and they cover the spread.
Okay. I think you're the minority here. I think Arizona wins. I think Arizona wins, and I think they win by a touchdown. So yeah, I don't like that Jets team. It's just that they have Aaron Rodgers and they have they're suspect.
I don't like Call of Duty's out. Everybody's joining. I don't like the Cardinals.
All right. We talked a little bit about this, but let's put an official behind it. Philly and Dallas. Philly favored by a touchdown at Dallas. Bobby.
Philly by 17 at minimum.
Yeah, Philly by 14.
What's the spread in this one?
7.
I'm gonna go Philly and they cover the spread.
Okay. I'm gonna go Philly as well, but I think it's a little bit closer. Cooper Rush is a little bit more underrated as a quarterback. And he's still got CeeDee Lamb to throw to. Give me Philly, but I think it's going to be 7-10. So I think they cover. But
yeah, I think I'm with you. I'm about 7-10. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, Philly wins. Right? Everybody's on the Eagle.
Yeah,
saying they win. Yeah.
Yep. We talked about Detroit, Houston. Let's talk about Miami, LA. That's the Monday night game. Miami is the underdogs to the Rams by 2.5. Bobby?
Rams by 3.
Okay. TJ?
Good game. The final field goal at the end wins it.
Miami by 4.
Rams and they cover.
Yeah, that's a close one for me. I think the Dolphins are pretty good at finding creative ways to lose, so I'm gonna give the LA the benefit of the doubt there and say they cover as well.
Oh my God, you idiot! Hold on to the football, you moron! What are you doing?
What was that?
He said creative ways to lose.
The Giants running back Tracy just got the ball knocked out because he was holding it like a friggin' loaf of bread, and now the
sounds like a Giants thing to do.
He plays for the Giants.
The Giants just Giants, and the Panthers got the ball on the 23 of New York in overtime.
That game's over.
Yep.
So, all right, guys, we're at the hour and a half mark. You guys got about 15 minutes to get ready for games, get where you're going if you're not already on the way. So 1 o'clock games. I hate you all. I hope you all lose. Unless you're playing a team for the NFC East, then I hope you win. And I wish nothing but L's for everyone else. But
I hope Dallas beats you by 20 I hope Dallas beats you by 20.
If Dallas beats him by 20, you won't see this man next week.
Oh, you see me next week.
No, you're wrong. I do want to see him for the whole hour and a half.
You'll see me next week. If we win by that much, you can tune in on on Wednesday, the Eagles Elite, because I will drag this entire team for an hour and a half.
Ooh, all right. Yep, that's must see TV.
Yeah. That Eagles Elite's going to be must see if they lose.
Yeah, I will not play that. Like, come on now. This is the Cowboys depleted. You better go out there and find a way. Even if you barely win, you better win. You better not lose. But all jokes aside, another fun week of NFL football is going to be some interesting games, but not a lot of like games you could really like put up and say this is a focus game, right? It'll be a lot of games where you kind of expect one team to win, but we may be wrong. We will be wrong at least once.
Any given Sunday.
But it'll be fun because there'll be a lot of football to play. A lot of us play fantasy football, so you got guys on other teams and sometimes even guys you're playing that you kind of like, we can win, but it's okay if he gets 100 yards, right? Or if he throws 3 touchdowns, it's okay. As long as we can throw 4. So, you got a little fun with the fantasy aspect thrown in as well. But thank you to TJ, thank you to Chris, and thank you to our own special masshole Bobby for hopping on with me this week. Shout out to Shady Sports Network.
Just call this man a masshole. That's awesome.
Well, he calls himself a masshole. That's what's great about
That's awesome.
I wear that badge proudly, my guy.
He does. That's why I like Bobby, right? Because Bobby does not care, right? He acknowledges that they got some preferential treatment from the refs during their heyday, and that's all I ask. I'm not saying we're going to take it back or anything. Just be honest about
treatment from the refs, dude. For 15 seasons, they were on our side.
Yeah. So, and that's all I ask. All I ask is just be honest about it. No one's going to take it away from you. No one's going to put any asterisk by it. No one's doing drugs. So you're fine.
Mahomes is getting the Brady treatment. They needed a new face of the league, and they anointed him. And Unless some team can break the narrative, it's going to continue.
Absolutely. We'll be back next week, 11 p.m. a.m. What's wrong with me today? 11 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you
I
check
won't be
us
here
out.
11 p.m.
And we'll have another great show. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in with us. And we're out.
Are you ready?